All right, so this is Around the Geek with J. Michael Tatum. So for those people who don't know you, who are you and what do you do?
That's the question, isn't it? I have no idea who I am. I'll tell you what I do. I'm a voice actor and sometime director and adaptive writer, largely on the anime dub and video game side of things. Though I do other things, but primarily people will know me for my anime roles and some of my video game work.
So you're director for Funimation?
I work for them as a director on occasion.
Okay.
Primarily for Funimation, I'm a contract voice actor and a contract adaptive writer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that means basically it comes over from Japan and I get it and I make it sound good and dramatic and everything it needs to be to have a home in English.
Oh, okay. So I think you do a lot of these interviews. Like, what's one of like your favorite stories that you tell like during these interviews?
I think the one I tell the most often and I love is how I got into this business because I was, and I'll try to be short because I know you only have so much time, but I basically was an actor for a long time when I was a kid. I kind of grew up on the stage and then I turned away from it when it came time to be an adult and look for gainful employment. For years I had a whole other career. And then I just happened to know some people at Funimation, specifically one, Christopher Bevins, a dear friend of mine, who's a director and writer and actor for them, and had been for years, who approached me and just said, "Hey, do you want to act? I need some new voices for this show. I'm working on called Samurai 7. Do you want to come in?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it's so sweet of you." No, because I was terrified. I didn't think I'd be qualified for it. It had been so long since I'd acted at all at that point. But he didn't take no for an answer, and he kind of wore me down. Eventually, I went in, and what I thought was just a 4-hour-long audition, which is almost unheard of. An audition that takes 4 hours is ludicrous. But I thought, well, maybe that's just how they do it here at Funimation. And after 4 hours, and it was voice acting, dubbing boot camp. And when I stepped out of the booth, thinking, all right, well, I've wasted his time. He's never going to bother me again, thank God. And I signed some papers that I thought were non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and said something to the effect of, how do you people at Funimation get anything done if it takes you 4 hours to audition every single part? And his response was, "Oh, it didn't. We just recorded the first 6 episodes, and you just signed a contract. So screw you. You're an actor now." And that's how it all started. So it's Christopher Bevins' fault. He unleashed me upon the world.
So you were actually working during an audition?
I was working there, apparently. Apparently,
Wow.
That son of a bitch knew what he was doing.
Which is crazy because we actually had an interview with Jerry Jewell.
Yeah.
And he actually spoke like very highly. Like, yeah, man, that guy, he's a really good guy. And then here you are. I didn't think we were actually going to get to meet you here at Otakon.
Jerry's one of my dearest friends, actually. So it's good to hear that he's saying nice things about me because he knows where all the bodies are buried.
So overall, like, what would you say is like one of your favorite anime or TV shows that you've worked on?
It's hard to pick a favorite, but I'll tell you right now, the one I do, it's such a long list, and it's like picking a favorite child. Actually, because I'm an actor and I'm a little crazy, all the characters kind of stay up here after you're done with them. So I always feel like, well, I would have choose that character, and then I have like 200 characters in my head going, "You're a bastard. Why didn't you choose me?" It's just like having a bunch of boyfriends. But the one that I think is the most meaningful for me, and they're all meaningful to a degree because it's a beautiful job. I mean, how could you not love it? They're basically paying me to go be a crazy man in a box making funny voices at people. But the one that there's one called Steins Gate, a show called Steins Gate, where I got to play not only the lead, but I was also the lead adaptive writer along with the wonderful Patrick Seitz, a dear friend of mine who is just a phenomenal human being, a phenomenal actor, a sublime writer. We got to work together on the show, adapting the scripts, and of course the original is just perfect. And then I got cast as the main character, and the process was such that I was writing much of it and recording at the same time. There's some overlap. So the scripts they were being written were only ever about 3 or 4 episodes ahead of what was being done in the booth. So there was this constant sort of game of catch up. So I would spend 8 hours in the booth recording Okabe, the main character, and then I would come home at night and write his dialogue for the few shows ahead, and so I just never was able to get away from him. And I got very attached anyway, but I couldn't find that line. And I had a sincere emotional breakdown in the booth in a very important scene that they actually went ahead and used because I begged them not to make me do it again. So yeah, if you know the show, there's the scene where he's in the backseat of the car. crying and pleading for something not to happen. That's right. I had to write the adaptation and act that, and then I lost it in the booth. So because of that, I just feel that was the most sort of unified, weirdly organic moment I've ever had as a voice actor. Because voice acting is odd. It's a very limited kind of acting. I love it and it's great, but it's very challenging because you have only your voice to act with, you know, and most of us growing up on the stage or doing film work, you have so many other things that help create this kind of imaginative reality that the actor needs to convey the feeling or the essence of the play or the show to the audience. But you know, because you have costumes, you have sets, you have music, sometimes you have all these things, other actors to work off of in real time. But with a dub or just doing any kind of voice work, you only have your voice. So it's kind of like having to build a house using only one tool, like hammer. That's all you get. And you got to build this house, and it better be livable. So it's weird, and so you have to kind of bring all this everything you learn about acting, you have to bring to the table and filter it through just one element, one tool in your toolkit.
Is that kind of cheating since you can like kind of like adapt it to like your acting style, like?
Well, you can, but if you're honest, and I try to be honest, is I will, if I don't ever necessarily write a character with myself in mind. I'll just write it as the character. When I write, I literally just have the original Japanese after I've watched the entire show several times and absorbed everything and studied as much of it as I can. I will just sort of watch an episode, and my writing process is to sort of turn off all the lights, make myself a drink, mute the television that I'm writing from, and just let the characters talk to me. And if I, in turn, am called to play one of them later on, as often happens, it may be someone that's in my wheelhouse of characters that I just, okay, I know this guy. Smart guy with glasses who may be a little, high-strung. Cool, got it. But other times it's a departure, and as an actor, I'm like, well, let's see if I can do this. And it's harder in the booth because if a line doesn't work, I got no one to blame but me. It's either because I'm a crap actor or a crap writer, I've got no scapegoat.
And I know we don't have too much time left, but I've seen a couple of things of video game characters you played, and one of them is Hammerlock, and I'm saying talking to you now, and I hear it coming out of you.
It does come out occasionally. I'll tell you a funny story about Hammerlock. I was going into sorry, I love him so much. I was going into Canada and I had to go through customs, and you have to write down what you're doing, voice acting, and so the customs agent found that a little interesting, and so he said, voice actor, anything I would know that you've been in, and I just like, probably not. Are you a gamer by any chance? Because Borderlands 2 had just come out like that year. And he's like, yeah, I'm a bit of a gamer. I'm like, Borderlands 2? He's like, I love Borderlands 2. And he's suddenly very animated. And I'm like, I'm Sir Hammerlock. And he goes, do the voice. Like, just stopped everything. And so I'm in the middle of all these people that are like waiting to get into the country. And I'm just sitting there. He's like got my passport and like the stamp hovering over me. And he's like, do the voice. And so I'm like, hello, da-da-da-da-da-da. And he just goes, welcome to Canada, get out of here. So, yeah. Sir Hammerlock got me through customs.
Wow. I wonder if that works for anything else. And is there anything that you would tell like the fans that's like watching this or whatever, pretty much what you would do to get into voice acting where you are today?
I don't follow my path because it was really weird. Everyone kind of finds their own weird way into this business, but the one thing you do have to do is study. And voice acting in particular, as I was saying earlier, is particularly difficult. So if you don't have an acting background generally,
everybody says that.
It's hard to do unless you've gone on stage and stuff. Yeah, you might. There's certain kinds of voice acting. You might have a great voice that works well doing certain sorts of things. But to be an actor it's hard. Yeah, it's a craft, and I still take classes all the time because it's something I will constantly learn because there's so many different theories and things you could kind of tap into facets of your personality that you wouldn't have access unless someone showed you how to go there in yourself, which all sounds very highfalutin and all, some a little like BS, I'm aware, but it's true. Acting is very hard, and voice acting is the hardest kind because, like I said earlier, you only have your voice, and that can be limiting for some people and really weird. So I study acting, do stage. It's all about starting with stage because That is the core. That's the granddaddy of all of it. That's like the beginning of how we as human beings started telling stories to each other. And I think it's good to go back to those roots to kind of explore it.
Well, all right. Thank you for taking the time to do this interview with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.